no more than a rehash, yakineoshi, of the Cairo Declaration, that the government intended to ignore it, mokusatsu, kill by silence, and that Japan would fight to the end. 102. The statement was taken by both Japanese and foreign papers as a clear rejection of the declaration. Emperor Hirohito, who was waiting for a Soviet reply to non-committal Japanese peace feelers, made no move to change the government position. 103. Japan's willingness to surrender remained conditional on the preservation of the Kokitei, imperial institution and national polity, assumption by the imperial headquarters of responsibility for disarmament and demobilization, no occupation of the Japanese home islands, Korea or Formosa, and delegation of the punishment of war criminals to the Japanese government. 104. At Potsdam, Truman agreed to a request from Winston Churchill that Britain be represented when the atomic bomb was dropped. William Penny and Group Captain Leonard Cheshire were sent to Tinian, but found that LeMay would not let them accompany the mission. All they could do was send a strongly worded signal to Wilson. 105. Bombs. The Little Boy bomb, except for the uranium payload, was ready at the beginning of May 1945. 106. There are two uranium-235 components, a hollow cylindrical projectile and a cylindrical target insert. The projectile was completed on the 15th of June, and the target insert on 24 July. 107. The projectile and 8 bomb assemblies, partly assembled bombs without the powder charge and fissile components, left Hunters Point Naval Shipyard, California, on the 16th of July aboard the cruiser USS Indianapolis, and arrived on Tinian on 26 July. 108. The target insert followed by air on the 30th of July, accompanied by Commander Francis Birch from Project Alberta. 107. Responding to concerns expressed by the 509th Composite Group about the possibility of a B-29 crashing on takeoff, Birch had modified the Little Boy design to incorporate a movable breech plug that would permit the bomb to be armed in flight. 106. The first plutonium core, along with its polonium-beryllium merching initiator, was transported in the custody of Project Alberta courier Raymer Schreiber in a magnesium field-carrying case designed for the purpose by Philip Morrison. Magnesium was chosen because it does not act as a neutron reflector. 109. The core departed from Kirtland Army Airfield on a C-54 transport aircraft of the 509th Composite Group's 320th Troop Carrier Squadron on the 26th of July, and arrived at Northfield the 28th of July. 3 Fat Man high explosive pre-assemblies, designated F-31, F-32, and F-33, were picked up at Kirtland on the 28th of July by 3 B-29s, 2 from 393d Bombardment Squadron plus 1 from the 216th Army Air Force Base Unit, and transported to Northfield, arriving on 2 August. 110. Hiroshima. Hiroshima during World War II. At the time of its bombing, Hiroshima was a city of industrial and military significance. A number of military units were located nearby, the most important of which was the headquarters of Field Marshal Shunroku Hayter's 2nd General Army, which commanded the defense of all of southern Japan. 111, and was located in Hiroshima Castle. Hayter's command consisted of some 400,000 men, most of whom were on Kyushu where an Allied invasion was correctly anticipated. 112. Also present in Hiroshima were the headquarters of the 59th Army, the 5th Division and the 224th Division, a recently formed mobile unit. 113. The city was defended by 5 batteries of 70 mm and 80 mm, 2.8 and 3.1 inch, anti-aircraft guns of the A silver aircraft with Enola Gay and 82 painted on the nose. 7 men stand in front of it. 4 are wearing shorts, 4 are wearing t-shirts, and the only ones with hats have baseball caps. Tibbets is distinctively wearing correct uniform. The Enola Gay dropped the little boy atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Paul Tibbets, center in photograph, can be seen with 6 members of the ground crew. 3 Road Anti-Aircraft Division, including units from the 121st and 122 ND Anti-Aircraft Regiments and the 22nd and 45th Separati Anti-Aircraft Battalions. In total, an estimated 40,000 Japanese military personnel were stationed in the city. 114. Hiroshima was a supply and logistics base for the Japanese military. 115. The city was a communications center, a key port for shipping, and an assembly area for troops. 77. It supported a large war industry, manufacturing parts for planes and boats, for bombs, rifles, and handguns. 116. The center of the city contained several reinforced concrete buildings. Outside the center, the area was congested by a dense collection of small timber workshops set among Japanese houses. A few larger industrial plants lay near the outskirts of the city. The houses were constructed of timber with tile roofs, and many of the industrial buildings were also built around timber frames. The city as a whole was highly susceptible to fire damage. 117. It was the second largest city in Japan after Kyoto that was still undamaged by air raids. 118. Primarily because it lacked the aircraft manufacturing industry that was the XXI Bomber Command's priority target. On the 3rd of July, the Joint Chiefs of Staff placed it off limits to bombers, along with Kokura, Niigata and Kyoto. 119. The population of Hiroshima had reached a peak of over 381,000 earlier in the war, but prior to the atomic bombing, the population had steadily decreased because of a systematic evacuation ordered by the Japanese government. At the time of the attack, the population was approximately 340,350,000. 120. Residents wondered why Hiroshima had been spared destruction by firebombing. 121. Some speculated that the city was to be saved for U.S. occupation headquarters. Others thought perhaps their relatives in Hawaii and California had petitioned the U.S. government to avoid bombing Hiroshima. 122. More realistic city officials had ordered buildings torn down to create long, straight fire breaks. 123. These continued to be pounded and extended up to the morning of the 6th of August 1945. 124. Bombing of Hiroshima. A typed page of instructions. Strike order for the Hiroshima bombing is posted on the 5th of August 1945. Hiroshima was the primary target of the first atomic bombing mission on 6 August, with Kokura and Nagasaki as alternative targets. The 393D Bombardment Squadron B-29 Enola Gay, named after Tibbets as Muthran, piloted by Tibbets, took off from Northfield, Tinian, about 6 hours flight time from Japan. 125. Enola Gay was accompanied by 2 other B-29s, the Great Artiste, commanded by Major Charles Sweeney, Wikipedia instrumentation, and a then nameless aircraft later called Necessary Evil, commanded by Captain George Marcotte. Necessary Evil was the photography aircraft. 126. Special Mission 13. Primary target Hiroshima. The 6th of August 1945. 126. 127. Aircraft pilot call sign mission roll straight flush Major Claude R. Eagle Impulse 85 weather reconnaissance, Hiroshima, Chubut III Major John A. Wilson Impulse 71 weather reconnaissance, Kokura, Full House Major Ralph R. Taylor Dimples 83 Weather Reconnaissance, Nagasaki, Enola Gay Colonel Paul W. Tibbets Dimples 82 Weapon Delivery The Great Artiste Major Charles W. Sweeney Dimples 89 Blast Measurement Instrumentation Necessary Evil Captain George W. Markart Dimples 91 Strike Observation and Photographer Top Secret Captain Charles F. McKnight Dimples 72 Strike Spare Did Not Complete Mission. After leaving Tinian, the aircraft made their way separately to Iwo Jima to rendezvous with Sweeney and Markart at 5:55 at 2,800 meters, 9,200 feet, 128, and set course for Japan. The aircraft arrived over their target in clear visibility at 9,470 meters, 31,060 feet. 129. Parsons, who was in command of the mission, armed the bomb in flight to minimize the risks during takeoff. He had witnessed 4 B-29s crash and burn at takeoff, and feared that a nuclear explosion would occur if a B-29 crashed with an armed little boy on board. 130. His assistant, Second Lieutenant Morris R. Jepson, removed the safety devices 30 minutes before reaching the target area. 131. Another view of the mushroom cloud forming, from further away. The Hiroshima atom bomb cloud 5 minutes after detonation. 132. During the night of 5–6 August, Japanese early warning radar detected the approach of numerous American aircraft headed for the southern part of Japan. Radar detected 65 bombers headed for Saga, 102 bound for Maebashi, 261 en route to Nishinomiya, 111 headed for Ube, and 66 bound for Imabari. An alert was given and radio broadcasting stopped in many cities, among them Hiroshima. The all clear was sounded in Hiroshima at 00:05. 133, about an hour before the bombing. The air raid alert was sounded again, as straight flush flew over the city. It broadcast a short message which was picked up by Enola Gay. It read, "Cloud cover less than 3/10 th at all altitudes. Advice, bomb primary." 134. The all clear was sounded over Hiroshima again at 07:09. 135. At 8:09, Tibet started his bomb run and handed control over to his bombardier, Major Thomas Furby. 136. The release at 8:15, Hiroshima time, went as planned, and the little boy, containing about 64 kilograms, 141 pounds, of uranium-235 took 44.4 seconds to fall from the aircraft flying at about 9,400 meters, 31,000 feet, to a detonation height of about 580 meters, 1,900 feet, above the city. 137, 138, Enola Gay was 18.5 kilometers, 11.5 mi, away. It felt the shock waves from the blast. 139. Due to crosswind, the bomb missed the aiming point, the AIOI bridge, by approximately 240 m, 800 feet, and detonated directly over Shima Surgical Clinic. 140. It released the equivalent energy of 16 ± 2 kilotons of TNT. 66.9 ± 8.4 TJ. 137. The weapon was considered very inefficient, with only 1.7% of its material fissioning. 141. The radius of total destruction was about 1.6 kilometers, 1 mi, with resulting fires across 11 square kilometers, 4.4 square mi. 142. Enola Gay stayed over the target area for 2 minutes and was 16 kilometers, 10 mi, away when the bomb detonated. Only Tibet's, Parsons, and Furby knew of the nature of the weapon. The others on the bomber were only told to expect a blinding flash and given black goggles. It was hard to believe what we saw. Tibbets told reporters, while Parsons said the whole thing was tremendous and awe-inspiring. The men aboard with me gasped, "My God." He and Tibbets compared the shockwave to a close burst of attack fire. 143 events on the ground. People on the ground reported a piker, a brilliant flash of light followed by a dawn, a loud booming sound. 144